Hi Frank, Tamara here. I remember you saying in the group chat that you appreciate video because it gives verbal tone, context, everything. So I thought I would do a recording response for you instead of typing. So I hope that's okay. I listened to your video sharing what you're looking at in your research and what you hope to focus on. And if I understood everything correctly, I tried to make notes as I was going, so forgive me if I made any misunderstandings. But you mentioned that you weren't exactly sure what you were going to do, like how you were going to research it, but you had some topics in mind, mostly focusing on getting the international students engaged in the school. And you listed several things that would be benefits, like removing the bias, contextualization, welcoming the students, making them feel welcomed, and reducing culture shock. Also, you mentioned connection between students and staff, as well as creating collaboration between students and staff. And then finally, enhance student life. And you wanted all of these benefits to hopefully lead to great academic achievement and the ability to share Christ and go forward in their ministry. So all of those things, as I was listening, I thought about the struggle is that's a lot of things that you want to improve, but what's a way that you could do that? And then I had an idea that came into my mind, and as you started to mention your barriers, the lack of willingness to participate, different worldviews, and generalization, perhaps missing certain cultures, I thought, wow, it seems like the idea that came to me might actually help with those barriers also. So my thought was, what if your research project somehow was focused on creating an orientation? Maybe you already have an orientation program for when you get new students into the program, but if not, perhaps students could come, like maybe there's like 1 week before they come to the program, like the first week that they come, instead of jumping right into the program, they actually participate in a week-long orientation. And that orientation is started out by a survey. And so everyone is in the survey because it's part of the orientation process. And just getting like kind of their thoughts and feelings before the week starts. And then having some very specific activities that are designed to discuss each person's worldview, where they're coming from, get to know each other, share your testimonies, all kind of things. And even throughout the week, different staff could come and participate. And that way the students get to see them outside of the classroom before they start the program. And so this could be, for example, like a week-long thing, almost like a camp, like a boot camp idea. Not boot camp in the sense that it's hard and difficult, but like it's a training. And so it's like, hey, we're coming to do this to get to know each other and make sure that we're on the same page. And then at the end of the week, you could do another survey type thing just to see if any of their views have changed. Maybe even giving the exact same survey and seeing if their responses are different. And then you could even wait until they've gone through maybe a first section. I think I remember your program is 1 year or maybe 2, but I think it's a 1-year program. So maybe like a quarter of the way in or halfway in, they take another similar survey to see if some of those things that you improved on during the orientation week continued and carried on through the first quarter or first half of the program. And so that could possibly help. And so one, it would alleviate some of the lack of willingness to participate because it would be built into the program. And it's like, hey, you're here for this week and this is what you're participating in. And then also it could help with the different worldviews because you're giving them an opportunity to share their worldview. But one thing that I would definitely encourage you to consider in that process and developing a worldview is that it's great to hear people's background worldview, but within your, for lack of a better word, I'll say school, because I don't remember if you call it a school, but you talk about your program or your organization, but I'll just use the word of school because it's my familiar context, but you could transfer it into your context. But you could create your own culture, the culture of your school or program. And so you basically agree upon certain norms, and you could use the Bible as the foundation. Because if we are all believers, there may be things that are different, things that are contextualized, but there should be some key fundamental things that we can agree on. And so those become your school culture. And so we're all coming from different backgrounds, but we are agreeing on these key tenets. Sort of like a church might have its statement of faith, and it's like we might disagree on some details, but we agree on these key points. We might say that we've developed our own culture within the church. So within your school, you develop your own culture and help people accept that into their own worldview. And so some things it's perfectly fine that we have differences on, but other things we need to come to an agreement on because we are going to share a life together. And so that could be part of the orientation process, is that people get to talk about their worldviews and all of that, but at the same time, as an organization, you're introducing your culture of your organization or school, and you're doing that based on the Bible so that it's more easily agreed upon. And then as far as generalization, I thought that was an excellent thing for you to note, that you could go to all of this work and then realize later, oh, we didn't have any student from China, was your example. There could be lots of reasons that you don't have all worldviews or cultural experiences included. But the great news, I remember in our reading, it specifically said that one of the critiques of action research is that it's not generalizable. But actually, through my conversations with Sandra in preparing my project, and also through all of our reading, I see that action research doesn't need to be generalizable. And actually, if you develop your own school culture, then that could remove some of the difficulty. And if you develop this orientation program, then every time you have new students coming in the process of the orientation is the sharing of the testimony, sharing of the personal worldview and all of that, and then learning the culture of the school. And so that would still allow them to incorporate and reach the same agreement of your norms within your school. So I hope that those suggestions might be helpful to you. I certainly am not an expert, but just some things that came to my mind as I listened to your recording. And again, I really think what you're doing is great. I think that these are excellent goals. The benefits that you listed would all be wonderful and something that we could all strive for within our own schools or organizations. And like I said, I really appreciated your barriers that you mentioned. The willingness to participate, I think, is relatively common, that you send out your survey and a lot of people don't reply. And then also the lack of generalization. That's a very good point and something to be aware of, but it need not be a hindrance to you in what you're doing. So thank you very much, and I hope that everything is going well for you and you're getting through your busy week. You mentioned graduation also. And so I hope that things are starting to calm down, and thank you.